you know. So that's why I try to argue, or I argue with Dad all the time. You know, and we don't get crazy over it or nothing. I just tell Dad, these bikes here, yeah, your bikes are worth a lot of fucking money. You know, the bikes that he grew up on are worth a lot of money. But you watch any video from that was shot during the Dude Tour, any X Games video, any fucking normal BMX video, any sponsored, you know, clip, any sponsored parts, you know, video parts. You know, so if you get sponsored for like by, let's say, Haro, if I were to get sponsored by Haro, you know, and I'm part of a bigger crew that gets sponsored by, you know, these younger riders, you know, they'd make this, you know, 5-6 minute video of like 20 guys, including me, you know, so there'd be 19 other guys with me, so it'd be 20 in total. You know, so you multiply, you know, a 30-second clip amongst 20 guys, you know, you're gonna be getting close to a 10-minute video, if not 15, or whatever it is. You know, you'll have, you know, that however long video. All right, 30 seconds, let's figure this out here. 30 seconds, multiply that by 20 guys, that'll be 6 minutes. You know, so you're looking, you know, 6 minutes of just riding, you know, and doing tricks and whatever. And now you got to add in, you know, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes for the intro, and including a sponsored video for the, you know, a sponsored, you know, ad for the video, for like, let's say by, you know, Simply Safe, let's say, sponsors the video or whatever, or you have, you know, a 2-minute introduction to who the riders are, you know, and then you have like, you know, so then you up the videos gets updated to 8 minutes. And then you got, like, let's say, you know, a minute and a half or 2 minutes for, you know, saying thanks to our sponsors, you know, Simply Safe, Diamondback, Haro, whatever the case, you know, the sponsors are. And all that, so you know, and then, you know, like I said, and all these guys are riding on $2,000-$3,000, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 bikes. Dad would be like, no, ride to get this bike, it'll be worth more. No, you get this one, you still get parts for it. And I'd tell Dad, you know, with a 2019 Fit Bike Co. Hango signature, I can go to DansCon today and order, you know, a few $100s in parts, and then be at the house in a few days. You know, I could. the thing is now, somebody that's looking to get into BMX is now going to see, oh, you know, we could be looking at Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever. They're like, oh, hey, this bike's a nice bike, you know, 300, because I just dropped the price to 350 on the BMX bike. And they'd be like, oh, that's a good price. You know, I even thought about just saying fuck it and going to the bike shop, bringing it to the bike shop and seeing what they'd give me for it. And after like let's say $200, I'm like, hey, I can't. I'd need at least 3. And after like, no, we got it. We do 275. That's it. Let's say. But right now, I wouldn't go for anything less than 3. I can't. I mean, yeah, I've been sitting on it for a while, but leave anything of value here? You know, oh, piece of wood. Probably wet though. I'm looking for mainly for paracord and all that right now. I'm just trying to enjoy the shade a little bit here too. You know, because I just put in my ad that I dropped the price to $350. You know, so if you live in Wisconsin and looking for a relatively decently upgraded BMX bike for somewhat cheap, hit me up. It's a 2019 Jordan Hango Signature Fit Bike, or 2019 Fit Bike Co. Jordan Hango Signature. It has the green Thunder pedals with removable pins.